Right. I really wanted to look into how Tuchel kind of outdone Klopp tactically with regards to yesterday's game, Adil. If you could give us a bit more insight into it.
Yeah, so what Tuchel did, which was slightly different from the previous weeks, was he actually played a more of a flat five, a more traditional wing back system with defense first. So they did. It's still a wing back system. They were pushing forward, but when the ball was with Allison, they made sure they stayed as a flat five. So then, what we saw in the first half was Liverpool targeting the space that they thought would be left behind Chilwell or Alonso, but because of this flat five, the pings and the long balls into Salah with or Trent wasn't getting them the joy that they were expecting, and they were targeting this area. Obviously, we've spoken about how Tuchel was also attacking down the space down left by Trent Alexander-Arnold, and that's where the first goal comes from. So the first point is in the setup of the formation, Tuchel sprung a surprise that I don't think Klopp was expecting, which was what they did in flat. They made it flat off the ball, so there's no real space to utilize the Alexander-Arnold Salah. So what happened was on the ball, the problem that Liverpool had was when Chelsea picked up the ball, they're playing short. Salah kept going in and pressing Rudiger, and Mane kept going in to Azpilicueta. So what that left was this situation where Chilwell and James, there's an easy out ball. Now, normally, the way Liverpool normally deal with that is Henderson would come across, but Thiago doesn't have that athleticism or that ability. So what tended to happen was Thiago was more worried about the ball into Rudiger, Jorginho or Kante, and so was Jones. So that forces Trent to commit. And that's how Tuchel set the trap for Mount to go in behind, or on quite a few occasions, Werner to go in behind. So the trap was actually set just from the setup. And the problem was Thiago wasn't the guy coming out. Many times previously we'll see the midfielder coming out to the fullback. But in this case, it kept so, and we saw it quite a few times. Salah was frustrated because Trent Alexander-Arnold isn't used to coming out that far high up. So then when Salah's pressing and the ball's going to Chilwell, there's a few clips showing Salah's displeasure at the fact that Trent wasn't on him or Thiago wasn't on him. And that reluctance, because it's not the way they're set up normally. And by the time Trent does go, it's too late because it's reactive. So basically, the ball's played in. Now Trent is going. There's enough time just to play in behind. There's so much time on the ball that the vertical pass is on. When Trent got better at doing that, what was very clever was they then forced the ball inwards to Jorginho and they'd switch across. So what would happen was they'd make the pitch slightly wider. And I believe this is the reason why Klopp substitutes Salah, because I think the second half, he no longer wanted Salah to press Rudiger. He wanted Salah to stay on Chilwell. And Salah still continued to get sucked into pressing Rudiger, because what Rudiger started to is coming more and more wide. And because they got that high press mindset, Salah ends up leaving Chilwell and the same trap is set again. So what happened was they're passing into the midfield. And so Thiago would come out and then they're playing it around. And then between James and Kante, the ball's going to come over the top. again, still that gap is there. Still, those options in behind were there, and that's why the ball over the top was so successful. I think Werner had about 4 chances where he could have capitalized. So, in terms of setup, yeah, Tuchel set traps, and just with the man and the setup that Liverpool had, they just couldn't counter attack the way Tuchel set the team up and exposed this gap. And really, the adjustment that needed to happen was Salah staying on Chilwell and letting Firmino and the defenders have the ball at the back and try and play those balls at the back. At least you're secure, and the gaps aren't there for that long ball. So yeah, Tuchel was very clever. I thought the fact that he went to more of a traditional flat five instead of a 3-4-2-1 was the difference, and set the game for a comfortable victory at the end.
I mean, clearly, it seems that Tuchel really done his homework on the Klopp system and how to exploit that space that Arnold leaves behind. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I mean, both teams would have done their homework, but Tuchel adjusted his, and before the game, and I don't think Liverpool were expecting that. The way they set up, they weren't expecting the fullbacks to be as deep as they were, because we've seen in previous games, this is more where the fullbacks are.
I mean, even they've gone for a more defensive approach in the sense that of the two players they pick. Usually they go with Hudson-Odoi, who's more forward thinking, same with Alonso. Yep. So you can see what he was trying to do clearly from this game.
Yeah, I mean, and it makes sense because Chilwell and James are two players who are gonna actually serve the ball, are gonna send the ball, play the ball in behind.
Yeah,
the more traditional fullbacks, they like crossing the ball a lot. With Alonso, he likes to join the attack more, and Hudson-Odoi likes to dribble. So you'd have lost that direct play and the space that you created to attack in between Fabinho and Kabak. If so, personnel was excellent, the tactics were excellent, and that was the reason why there looked to be a difference in the levels between the two teams. But I just feel it was more Tuchel got everything spot on.
Thank you, Adil.